Hello there, everyone. This is Hannah Garrett, and I teach first and second grade at a Christian school in Southern Indiana. And this year I have 20 students in my classroom. I started using PowerPoint slides last year to help me just stay on pace and to be organized. I had a very large class of 27, and I just felt like I was just really not staying on pace and doing what I needed to. So these slides really helped me to stay focused and just to be able to get through the day and cover all of the Abeka curriculum that is needed. So I'm going to just kind of show you through each of my slides. This is for day one. My first day of school is tomorrow, August 9th, and this is what I will be going through with the students throughout the day. Now, Abeka wants you to start right away with the curriculum. That's how they've designed it. They've programmed many different gaps, especially in first and second grade, where you can use that extra class time to teach procedures and rules and just the way that you want your classroom to run smoothly for the year. For example, reading groups don't start until day 4, and for first grade, and it looks like day 3 for second grade. There's no history, science, or health. There's no spelling. So there's many different opportunities throughout the day. And then even the curriculum that they do have you teaching is a lot of review for most of these kids. It will be fairly easy material. So I'm just going to walk you through the slides, and then I will also kind of explain a couple other things that I will do throughout the day if time allows at the end. So when the students walk in the morning, they're going to see this good morning slide. What I do is the students are allowed to enter the classroom at 8 o'clock, and the bell rings at 8:15. So at 8 o'clock, I will hit a 15-minute timer, just one I've pulled off of YouTube and inserted into my slides. I change this throughout the year with the different themes or music. Could be just relaxation music. It could be no music at all. It could be thematic or seasonal. Down here in the corner, this is just for me to just help me to recognize the slides quickly and be able to keep my mind on which day we're even on. This is something new that I'm going to start this year, is a would you rather. So when the students come in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have just some small magnets up on my board, and they are going to come and just simply put their magnet almost as tally marks under which picture or would you rather question that they would prefer. So the first day is, would you rather have a pet dolphin or would you rather have a pet shark? And it's just kind of a way to help them check and say, okay, have I done everything that I needed to? And the kids will get excited when you put different things up on the board like that, of something new each day that they need to look forward to. So for my students, when they come in the morning, they will be trained. They won't automatically know how to do this on the first day, but they will be trained to come in and to hang up their backpack, to put their lunchbox up on a shelf that we have in the room, to go and put their folder over in our turn-in pockets that we have, and then they will be able to go and get a tray or a device to play with. So the trays are just many different, like either art materials or STEM materials, just different toys, things like that that they can play. I do the soft start in my classroom, where they will come in and just be able to play and talk for the first 15 to 20 minutes of the school day together. And this has just really helped me. I used to have them get started right away, but I feel like the little kids, it helps them to be able to talk and see their friends and just kind of get that out of their system. It helps me to be able to check in with the kids, talk to them, get notes ready that need to go to the office, or talk to any parents that might be wanting to have a quick conversation with me in the morning. So this will be slide number 1. At the end of our timer, or whenever I see that it is time for us to switch and I've gotten all of my clerical duties done, I will turn it to the next slide. At the end of those 15 minutes, I will turn on this slide that is the Clean Up Robot song. It's from Harry Kindergarten. It's about 1.5 minutes long of a song, and when the kids hear this, they know that that is their cue, that they are to clean up the trays that they are playing with or their craft items, close their devices, and get everything cleaned up. And at the end of the song, the part that I like the best is it starts counting down a little timer on there, and they know that when that timer goes, they are to quickly get up into their seats and get ready for pledges. Then we do our pledges. I simply just have this slide up there for me to just remember what it is that we're doing. Sometimes I have students hold our flags, and other times we just pledge over our hearts for those. Then after we have done our pledges, I will pray, and the next slide will usually have one song on it, just simply either something from YouTube, a worship song, or a children's Bible song. And then usually we only have time for one. Sometimes I will do 2 songs, and we will play that song, and then it will be time for our Bible verse. This is our first Bible verse that we will be learning this year. The very first day that I introduce a Bible verse, I will have them get their Bibles out, and we will find the reference and where it is at in our Bibles. Since they are 1st and 2nd grade, this will be definitely difficult for them. It will take a lot of me walking around and helping them find them in their Bibles for them. I show them how to use a bookmark to mark it so they can easily find it again. I have this displayed as a poster in my classroom, but I also display it on our PowerPoint slides every day so we can reference it as needed. But I also want them to realize that these verses do come from the Bible and where they can find them at on there. And after we have found them in the Bible, I just simply tell the students to follow along as I read it. I know that most of them, especially the 1st graders, won't be able to read many of these words, but it's just good practice for them. So I will read through the entire passage, and then I will just do a brief summary of what the passage as a whole means. And then I will break that down into verse by verse, and I choose to do it this way. I believe Abeka wants you to practice saying the entire passage every day, but I have just found, since I do a lot of hand motions with mine, that I like to do it verse by verse, and I either take 1 to 2 days per verse, just depending on how the students are doing with it. I teach them various hand motions, simply just ones that I've made up or ones that I know from sign language, and we learn the verses that way. The kids definitely can memorize it a whole lot more when they have hand motions to go with it. So usually our verses will take us anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks to memorize the passage, and then one by one the students will say these to me at the end of that time period for a grade in our Bible. That is the only grade that I take in Bible. There's no Bible test with the 1st and 2nd grade curriculum, so it's simply based on their memorization of their Bible verses. After our Bible verses practice is done, I go into carpet time, where I have the students come to the carpet and I teach them our Bible lesson. So for the very first 2 days, we will talk about creation, and I will teach them the lesson from the Abeka flashcards on the first day. And then the second day, I usually will either do a review, either a review game, or if I don't feel like the students understood the Bible lesson as well as I might like them to, we might just get the flashcards back out and talk about the lesson again. For creation, I will probably be doing a craft for the second day, just to help each of those days of creation to really sink in and for them to be able to retain it better. And I like having my kids sit on the carpet for that, just because I like having them close by me. And that's what I do every day for Bible class. Then we will introduce our poem. Now, since I teach a combined classroom, what I do is we flip-flop the 1st and 2nd grade poetry every year. So this year we will be doing 2nd grade poetry, since we did first grade poetry last year. So this is our first poem. The way that I will introduce it is I will just read it to them. I will explain different difficult words or what the passage might mean altogether, and then we will say it a couple times together. And at the beginning it gets a little rocky, but as we get going, they get really good at memorizing these poems. Generally after this time would be spelling, but that does not start for a couple weeks, and so it's just poetry for the first couple weeks of school, getting them used to that, getting the phonics curriculum covered as well. This is a phonics chart from the Abeka digital files that you can get, and this is chart 1. If you do not have the digital files, you can still find this as a hard copy as chart 1, and it's just the vowels. So we will go through. I would probably ask the students to look at this chart and tell me, what do they notice about this? Can they tell me what these 5 letters have in common? And hopefully they will be able to tell you that these are vowels. So we will practice the vowel sounds, the vowel letters. We would say A says a as an apple. E says as an elephant. I is I as an inchworm. O says as an ostrich. And U says as an umbrella. Now on the first day for the first grade curriculum, they are wanting you to explain the letter E. So I talk a lot about mouth placement when we talk about these letters, and that helps those, especially those that might be struggling with their speech sounds, and much of that has to do with the way that their tongue is in their mouth or the way that they're forming their lips or their teeth. So we talk about how our mouths look, and you can do a quick Google search on mouth placement to be able to help you know better the way that your mouth should be formed, and we just kind of practice that repeatedly. And I should say too that the way that if you're teaching a combined classroom and this is your first time doing that, you will be feeling like a ping pong ball, just jumping back and forth and having to explain from first grade to second grade. Some teachers choose to have, like if this was what I was doing for simply first grade, they might have second grade working on their seat work. I choose to have first and second grade participating in phonics drills, math drills all together, because I feel like for the first graders, when you get to second grade concepts, it's a good push for those, especially those that are higher. And for the second graders, it's good because it is a good review for them on any concepts that some of them might have been struggling with in the previous year. So it just really works well, and I think it's just kind of the best of both worlds of them getting to have review and to be pushed. The next thing that I will do is after we have practiced our vowels, I will have them get up. They've been sitting for a while, and we will go and make a circle on the carpet. I will have some pictures of words with short vowels in them, like an egg, an elephant, an ostrich, an apple, a cat, a dog, just various pictures like that, just very simple ones. And there will be enough pictures on the floor to match the number of students in my classroom. So I would have 20 pictures in a circle. The students, this is like musical chairs, but there's no chairs involved, so they're just going to stand behind the picture. They're going to walk around as the music is playing. When the music stops, everybody freezes on the picture that they're at. Then I'm going to use a randomizer from wheelofnames.com, and you just simply go and you put your students in there. It's very user-friendly. I use it all throughout the year to help me with randomly choosing students' names. So I will just spin that wheel, and then the student that it landed on will tell me what their picture is. So if they're holding a dog, they would say dog, and then I will say, can you tell me what vowel is in your word? And so they could either tell me it's an O, or they could tell me the sound ah. And that is how we'll play that game, and we'll just play it until hopefully everyone has a chance, but this is a great way to get the wiggles out and to practice your vowels at the same time. This is a short E song to help us with our letter E sounds. This is from thisreadingmama.com. The website is down here at the bottom that you can go to. This is just a free download that she has. She has them for each of the vowel sounds, and this is excellent. I started using these last year, and I had some very low students, and it really, really helped them. So just a real quick way that this song would go, it's to the tune of 10 in the bed. So you're just going to say, there were 10 in the bed, and the short E said, eh, 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 eh. So you're wanting, when it comes to this part, to say the sound, not the letter. And then you just finish the rest of the song with the kiddos. And this is just great. I've used so many songs this last year in my teaching, and it has really helped the kids to grasp a lot of the concepts that I have been trying to teach them. Now, by this point in the morning, I will start to hear kids saying that they are so hungry, and many of them are. I have some students that come and that did not eat breakfast, and maybe they were nervous and they just didn't feel like eating before they came, but they're going to be hungry at this point. So there are many, many days that I will pull out some kind of small food item to use in our just learning that we do in our classroom. So for the first day of school, since we're talking about vowels, I have a vowel bingo game, and I am going to get some cereal pieces and give them all a scoop of cereal to use as their game pieces. And they will be able to eat their pieces as we play the game. So that's a great way to let them have a small snack to help quiet their growling tummies, but also to be able to help review as well. I really try as best I can to not take, like say, oh, we're going to have a snack, and then we just eat a snack and do nothing. I like to try to combine as much of things as we can. For example, if we're taking bathroom breaks, I might use flashcards, and we might play a game for those students that are waiting in line to use the bathroom. When you have a combined classroom, it is so crucial that you use every moment that you can and try to view every moment as an opportunity to get more skills done. And this comes with practice, but once you start kind of picking up on just different tips, you'll realize there's so many ways that you can fit your curriculum in as the day goes. This chart is Phonics Chart 2, once again from the Abeka digital files, and this is what second grade will be covering, is just simply the alphabet and all of the sounds that go with it. So we will practice different, the short vowel sounds only on this chart, and we will practice some of the consonants as well. We'll practice those sounds. I might just randomly call on students that I might say, Johnny, tell me, what sound does the T make? And they would need to say t, t, t. Make sure that you are teaching students not to say ta. There's not a TU, it's just a T. So you want to make your sounds be nice and concise. So for when they come to the letter M, it is not ma, it is So many times I will say, oh my goodness, I heard an attached to that. Let's see if we can try that again. And for many students, they may have been taught that way to say ma or pa, but we need to teach them that there is not a vowel attached to this, so they would want to just simply say p, p. Now, when they come to the QU, I explain that those are best friends. They do not want to be separated, and so the Q and the U go together, and they do say qua, qua. Otherwise, all of these other sounds are simply by themselves, and they do not get a vowel attached to them. So we will just go over this chart pretty briefly and move on with penmanship. Now, this page here is, let me see, yes, I think it's going to show you. This is another one of the Abeka digital files that's great for handwriting. It will actually show you, as you can see here on the screen, the red is how they're going to start with their pencil. It'll show you the correct arrow placement and then curve around and show you exactly how to form each letter and number. It's wonderful. So what we will do is we'll watch it a couple times. I'll play this on a loop and they will watch it. And then I will pick various students to come up to the board and get our dry erase markers. and trace right over the top of it. When I had a smart board, we would just get the smart pens that go with the board and they would trace over it in various colors. Currently, I have a projector projecting to just a whiteboard, and so you can do the exact same thing with your markers. And if you have a TV that is not a touch screen, obviously they can't draw on that, but they could use their finger and just go up like you see here with my mouse, and they could take their finger and just do a tracing. And one big thing that I'm going to really push this year is a lot of tactile learning modes. I was trained in some Orton Gillingham last year, which is a dyslexia program, and those that struggle with reading and tactile learning is very, very important. So we might trace this E on the carpet. We might trace it on our leg, on the floor, not with a marker or anything, but just with their fingers. It's very important that the students get that muscle memory going so they can remember the exact formation and the way that they're going to start and end their letters, especially for those that have that fine motor problems. Now, for the first and second grade penmanship, they start out with the same letters and numbers, and as the year progresses, second grade will start going to 2 letters a day instead of 1, and it moves at a little bit quicker pace. And once again, if you have brand new second graders, this is great because they probably did not learn cursive at their previous school. So they're going to be able to get a little slower pace by the first grade penmanship lessons. So this is great for them as well. So the next 3 slides are just simply penmanship. And I'm not going to show you those, but it's just the letter E for the first day, the number 1, and the number 2. Now, at some point during our day, I do not have timers or slides built in here that show our recess time and our lunch times, simply because I found that I just don't operate well with the timers because I may have more to say or less to say in a day, and it just is not my style. So I do not do timers. I don't do the slide insert, like I said, with recesses or lunch. I just put those on my phone as an alarm so I'm not late. And so by the time math gets here, we would have, this should be, if everything falls correctly, math should happen after our lunch period for us. And we would have had a morning recess, probably. It will fall this year in the middle of phonics time, and which is fine. We'll just start it and then end it when we get back in. And then I will have finished phonics. When reading groups start back in, I will have started my first round of reading groups as well. Hopefully finished them and hopefully got through our penmanship as well. But we will just kind of see as the year progresses. My schedule might have to change a little bit, but we will just kind of be flexible and do what we need to do to get through that. After lunch, I do a read aloud, and I just find that it's a great way to get the students kind of calm down and back into learning mode, and we just sit on the floor. I let them, if they would like to lay down on their bellies, they're able to do that, just to kind of relax and listen to our read aloud. And you know, during read aloud, it's not just to view it as, oh well, we can waste some time. It's a great time to teach comprehension skills. Ask them questions as you're reading of, what do you think will happen next, and why was this character so sad in this picture? Can you tell me why? And it's just a great time for you to teach those comprehension skills as well. So the way that I generally start my math lesson is by, usually a YouTube video is kind of the way that I will start them. And in the beginning, for the first couple days, we're learning just number words and easy counting. So for first grade, on day 1, you're just teaching numbers 1 through 5. And for second grade, you're teaching numbers 1 through 12 in the number words. So for this number word rap song, once again, I believe, yes, it's by Harry Kindergarten, and it just goes 1 through 10, but that's okay because we can just teach 11 and 12 in a different way. So I choose to teach it through this song. We might play it once, we might play it twice, just kind of to see how your kids are responding to the song. Then what I'm going to have them do, since this is the first day, is get out their math toolkit. I have shared this toolkit on the Abeka Facebook group, which I just have different charts and math manipulatives in a pencil box. And we will use this all throughout the year for all kinds of hands-on math learning. I have found that the students just respond a lot better and are able to be more engaged in their learning when they have something right in front of them, as opposed to just watching 1 or 2 kids go to the board and do something. So I'm going to let them, since this is the first day, just simply get it out, play with the cubes, the blocks, the dice, you know, just give them about 5 minutes or so to really look through it and play with it. Now my second graders would have already been exposed to this last year, so they're probably not going to be as thrilled with it as the first graders will, but they can still just look at it and play with them, stack them. You know, none of that's wrong. Sometimes I think we think, oh no, our kids should not play with anything, but kids learn by playing, and I find that if you give them the chance to play with them when you need them to not play with their manipulatives, then they're going to be much more likely to not be tempted to play with them when you need them to not be. This is just a partial picture of what is in the math toolkit. The page that they have would actually go to 200, but since I'm putting this up in the big screen and all we are counting to is 50, I just kind of cut it and blew up these numbers so they make it a larger view for the kids, but they will also have the one in front of them to do. And first grade is just going to be counting to 20, and second grade will be counting to 50. And what I'm going to do on this, since it's kind of our first time, we will just simply start counting. I might have them say, boys, count to 10. Girls, read row 2. Boys, first grade, second grade. If you have blonde hair, all kinds of different ways just to kind of break up the monotony of counting. And then I might ask them if they notice anything about this row. I'm not sure if I will do that on the very first day, but I was watching Susan Jones this summer and how she talked about using the hundreds chart and just being able to show those patterns and how crucial that is in first and second grade. So if I don't do it on our first day, I definitely will within the first few weeks of school. This is another page that is in the toolkit that the students will have in front of them. We are going to really try to hit hard place value this year and what numbers really mean when they're broken down. Now I know that we are nowhere near even the tens family right now since it's the first day, but what we're simply going to do is just focus on this ones. So I'm going to ask them to get out their base 10 blocks and just the ones blocks that look just like this, and I'm going to ask them put 1 block in your ones place. And then ask them, how many blocks is that? Or who can tell me what number does that represent? And then we would just keep adding to it. I might even break it for some of the higher ones and say, if we had 2 blocks here and I added 2 more ones, how many total ones would we have? And it's just a little way to kind of extend that learning through that. So we're going to use this a lot more than I did last year. I found that once we start getting into borrowing and carrying, some of the second graders really struggled last year, and I think that that kind of stemmed from not having a good place value understanding. So I really want to cover this really thoroughly this year. The next 2 slides are just another from the Abeka Digital. Once again, if you do not have digital, these are the hard copy charts that you had when you bought the program. And these are for the second graders, but once again, first graders will still be participating, still be standing and reading the charts with us. And when I introduce a chart, I will have this up on the board. The students will stand and I will use my pointer and we will just either go up and down or we will go across however I want. And we would just simply read them by saying 0 plus 1 equals 1, 1 plus 0 equals 1, 1 minus 0 equals 1, 1 minus 1 equals 0. And that's how we will do that when we introduce the charts. And sometimes we might use our counters, our blocks, our fingers, whatever we might use is just another way to kind of show what it is that we're doing. You know, ideally we want them to get to the point that they're memorizing, but at the beginning we also want them to understand what this means. When we have one finger and we take away 0 fingers, how many fingers are still standing? So we really want them to understand the meaning of it. Then we will get to the point of memorizing them through drill and repetition. The next skill to be covered is left and right. And this is such an important life skill, not only a skill that they will see on upcoming tests. So I have found probably about 3 different YouTube songs. I'm sure there's many, many more out there, but there's about 3 of them that I particularly enjoy and the students seem to respond well to. And this is one of them, once again, from Harry Kindergarten. If you can't tell, I enjoy his music. I like them also because they are not very long. And the kids like them. They're kind of in rap style or chanting kind of voices. And so we will watch this video to introduce our left and right. They will do things like hold your left hand, hold your right hand, your left foot, your right foot, and we just practice that as we sing along. And then another way that we're going to practice our left and right is this chart that I made up. They will each have their own copy. And what I have done, this picture over here is going to remind me that we are going to get out our journals out of their desk, and they're just these little composition notebooks. And so I have made this to a half sheet size, and each of the kids are going to get one. And we're going to, this is a great time too for me to practice how we're going to use our journals, because I use my journals for gluing and cutting skills as well, but I also will use them as we get further about halfway through the year in our writing lessons for rough drafts and things. We will use our notebooks for that as well, but a lot of times at the beginning I kind of papers that I would want them to hang on to, and this would be one of them. We will cut this and glue it into our notebooks. So this, I saw a similar example on TPT, and so I just kind of made one up that fit my style a little bit better. So at the top of their page, they are going to see these 2 clip art hands that say left and right. And then what they are going to do, it'll say draw a blank on the left hand. So they're going to draw a snake. So they're going to use this as a guide if they do not have their left and right memorized, and they would just draw a snake on the left hand. Then draw a pencil on the right hand, an apple, a ball. Then number 5, circle the hand that you write with. So I want them to realize, oh, my pencil is in my left hand or my pencil is in my right hand, and they're going to circle that. And then the last step they're going to do is to draw a ring on the hand that they write with. So if they are right-handed, they're going to draw a circle around it, and then they would also draw a ring on one of those fingers. I can link this below for anyone that might want a copy of that left and right paper. But I thought this would just be a really good skill to have glued in their paper. So if anyone ever gets confused on left and right, they can look in there. I also have some clip art around the classroom to help remind them which direction is left and which direction is right. Now, generally after math would be where we would do our afternoon reading groups and where we would do science, history, or health, and our afternoon recess. Because we do not have reading groups or history, science, health at this early in the year, there is nothing left to show you except for this pack-up slide. So I have this 5-minute cleanup song with this countdown. It's a nice little cheery song from YouTube, and it's got a 5-minute timer, and I will play this song while we are cleaning up the room. So I feel like 5 minutes is enough time for us to do this, and we will pack up, we will clean up. I have done this numerous ways where I assign different kids to go at a time, and I just kind of see as the year goes on how that is going to work with the new group of students that I have, and if I need to tweak anything by allowing them to all go at one time, or if I need to break it down into smaller groups. And that is just part of teaching and the flexibility that goes with it. So I know this was a super long video, but I kind of wanted to walk through step by step on each of these slides, how I would teach them very, very briefly in the classroom. I also wanted to just mention that I will have a stack of extra materials just sitting, waiting if I need to pull something throughout the day. If I realize, especially in that first week of school, the kids are very wiggly, they're very antsy, they haven't been having to sit in a structured environment all summer long. So I will try to have a lot of different extra things. So a lot of read alouds, and I use those read alouds, especially the first week of school, to teach various procedures, kindness, rules in the classroom. And one of the books that I will do on the first day of school will be First Day Jitters. I love that book. And at the end of that book, we will make some jitter juice, something that you can find on Pinterest if you're interested in that. It's just usually a Kool-Aid flavor mixed with Sprite, and then you can add a couple little sprinkles in there, and that's their little jitter juice, and they think that's wonderful, of course, to get something to drink after you've read a story. That's a great book, and I will plan on doing that one this year. And then I have all kinds of other books just sitting and waiting for me if I need to. And sometimes that's just what we need to do. Sometimes I feel like, oh, okay, these kids are just needing a break from everything. And the more that you teach, the more that you'll pick up on those clues. And there might be something that I say, okay, we're going to just do some exercises and let's stand up and do some exercises. Or I might say, we're just going to have 10 minutes of playtime, and we might get out some blocks or things like that and just play. Kids need that time, like I said, especially at the beginning of the year, to just be able to feel comfortable with you, comfortable with their classmates. And you want them to go home on the first day of school and be excited, ready to come back. Hopefully you've worked out any nerves that they might have, and that you've just presented yourself in a very friendly way and a fun way that they will just want to please you, and that they will want to do what's right because you have just made learning so much fun for them. So I thank you all. I know this, like I said, was a very long video, and if you watched, thank you. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ask them in the comments below. Thank you.